The Galactic Council chamber hummed with derisive chatter as Ambassador 𝗕𝗲𝘀𝘁 of the 𝗕𝗲𝑀 Republic adjusted his recorder. The subject of today's debate, humanity's petition for full membership, had already been decided before the session even began. "They bring wooden swords to a plasma fight," sneered Warlord 𝗕𝗲𝘀 of the Krix Dominion, his mandibles clicking in amusement. The holographic feed displayed Earth's so-called fleet, patched-together vessels with primitive propulsion, their weapons laughably outdated. Archivist 𝗕𝗲𝘀�'s tendrils twitched. He had studied human history. He knew what those creatures had survived. But the Council saw only weakness. "Motion to classify Earth as a protected species," declared the High Arbiter. "Their technology is insufficient for self-defense. The Krix have generously offered to oversee their system's resources, for their own safety, of course." The vote passed without dissent. On Earth, Admiral 𝗕𝗲𝘀𝗁 watched the transmission with cold fury. The Council's words were polite, but the meaning was clear: you are prey. Her second-in-command, Lieutenant Hale, clenched his fists. "They're giving us to the Krix like a buffet." 𝗕𝗲𝘁 didn't blink. "They think our fleet is a joke because we let them think that." A classified file flickered open on her screen. Project Iron Shroud. Hidden shipyards in the asteroid belt. Ships built from scavenged alien wrecks and retrofitted with human brutality. No energy shields, just layered armor. No plasma cannons, just kinetic kill rods accelerated to relativistic speeds. Hale exhaled. "Jesus. They have no idea." 𝗕𝗲𝘀�'s smile was razor-thin. "The Krix are coming to protect us." "Good." She tapped the comm, "all stations, wake the fleet." Somewhere in the dark, asteroids split open, and humanity's real navy stirred. The Krix armada descended upon Sol like a swarm of locusts, their warships gleaming under the distant sun. Warlord 𝗕𝗲𝘀's flagship, the 𝗕𝗲𝘀, led the vanguard, its plasma cannons humming with barely restrained power. The Galactic Council censors watched from afar, expecting another pathetic display of human surrender. Earth's decoy fleet, small, outdated vessels with flickering shields, scattered like frightened prey as the Krix advanced. 𝗕𝗲𝘀's laughter echoed through the comms. Asterisk, pathetic. They don't even fight. Asterisk, his second-in-command, 𝗕𝗏𝘀𝘁, sneered. Asterisk, should we glass a city? Speed this up. Asterisk, 𝗕𝗲𝘀 waved a clawed hand. Asterisk, broadcast our terms. Let them beg before we erase them. Asterisk, the transmission blared across Earth's channels. Asterisk, lay down your arms, or we burn your world to ash. Asterisk. Admiral 𝗕𝗲𝘀𝘁𝑁 watched from the command hub beneath Luna's surface, her fingers hovering over the activation key. The room was silent. No panic. No hesitation. Just the quiet hum of systems waiting for her order. She pressed the button. Across the asteroid belt, dormant rocks shuddered. Cracks split their surfaces, revealing hidden shipyards buried deep within. The Krix sensors screamed as new signatures flared to life, dozens, then hundreds. The real human fleet emerged. Stealth dreadnoughts, their hulls blackened to absorb scans, unfolded like waking giants. Railgun frigates, their barrels humming with magnetic charge, locked onto Krix vessels. And then came the drones, thousands of them, salvaged and repurposed from Earth's last great war, their tiny thrusters flaring as they surged forward like a metallic tide. 𝗕𝗲𝘀�'s smirk died. Asterisk, what in the void? Asterisk. The first railgun round struck before he finished speaking. A Krix destroyer's shields flared, then shattered. The projectile punched clean through the hull, exiting the other side in a spray of molten debris. The Krix had built their defenses against lasers and plasma. They had no answer for kinetics. The dreadnoughts opened fire next, their coil guns launching slugs at a fraction of light speed. Krix ships detonated in sequence, their formations collapsing into chaos. The drones swarmed, latching onto hulls, chewing through armor with diamond-tipped mandibles. Some carried crude fission charges, just enough to cripple an engine, rupture a reactor. 𝗕𝗏𝑀's voice crackled over the comms. Asterisk, shields are useless. They're weapons. Asterisk, a railgun round silenced him permanently, shearing the 𝗕𝗲𝘀𝘁 bridge in half. 𝗕𝗲𝘀 stumbled as alarms wailed. His fleet was being dismantled, ship by ship. He snarled, ordering a retreat, but human vessels were already cutting off their escape vectors. A dreadnought, the Iron Resolve, slid into position, its railguns cycling for another volley. The last thing Gore saw was the flash of tungsten streaking toward his viewport. Silence fell over the battlefield. The Galactic Council's observers stood frozen, their feeds displaying the impossible. Earth's pathetic fleet had just annihilated a Krix strike force without losing a single capital ship. On Luna, Kira exhaled. That's one message sent. Across the galaxy, the laughter stopped. The Krix defeat sent shockwaves through the Galactic Council. Debates erupted in the Hall of Voices, a cacophony of outrage, fear, and grudging respect. Archivist 𝗕𝗲𝘀𝘁 watched from the periphery, recording every word, every tremor in the usually unshakable order of the galaxy. The warmongers were the loudest. High Prelate 𝗕𝗲𝘀𝘁 of the Draxian hegemony slammed a clawed fist onto the podium. This is not a victory, it is an infection. Humans do not follow the rules of war. They do not respect the balance of power. If we allow this to stand, every lesser species will think defiance is an option. A chorus of agreement rose, but not all voices joined. The Tirelian envoy, a slender being with silvered eyes, stood calmly. The humans were attacked unprovoked. They defended themselves with weapons they did not flaunt, tactics we did not anticipate. Where is the crime in that? 𝗕𝗲𝘀𝘁 frill flushed crimson. They hid their strength. Deception is their weapon. 𝗕𝗲𝘀𝘁 finally spoke, his voice quiet but cutting. Or perhaps they learned that showing their full hand invites destruction. We gave them no reason to trust us. The chamber fell silent. On Earth, Admiral 𝗕𝗲𝘀𝘁 stood before the United Nations Defense Council, the weight of the galaxy's gaze pressing down. The footage of the Krix annihilation had spread. Every species now knew what humanity could do. The question was, what came next? We don't want a war, 𝗕𝗲𝘀 said, but we won't kneel. The screens behind her flickered to life, displaying old footage, cities in ruins, mushroom clouds rising over wastelands. This is what happens when humanity fights without restraint. We swore never to let it happen again. But if pushed, we remember how. The message was clear, Earth would not be the aggressor. But it would not be prey. The Council's response came swiftly. A coalition fleet, led by the Draxians and the remnants of the Krix, mobilized. Not for conquest, for containment. They would blockade Sol, starve humanity into submission. Kira received the news with a smirk. They still don't understand. Deep in the solar system, past the asteroid belt, Jupiter's moon Europa trembled. Ice cracked. Something ancient, something repurposed, stirred beneath the surface. The galaxy had miscalculated. Humanity's real fleet was just the beginning. The Allied armada arrived in Sol like a storm front, hundreds of warships bristling with weapons that had conquered star systems. The Draxian command ship Eternal Dawn led the blockade, its obsidian hull reflecting the distant sun. High Prelate 𝗕𝗲𝘀𝘁 watched the tactical displays with cold satisfaction. Humanity's system was surrounded. Their defiance would end here. Then Jupiter's moon cracked. At first, the sensors registered it as a seismic event, Europa's icy surface fracturing under some immense pressure. Then the energy signatures spiked. 𝗕𝗲𝘀𝘁's tactical officer recoiled as the readings scrolled across the screen. That's not natural. That's... The moon split open. From within its shattered shell, something vast and angular emerged, its hull scorched black from ages buried in ice. Ancient reactors flared to life, their power signatures dwarfing even the Eternal Dawn. The humans had not just hidden ships, they had weaponized a moon. Kira's voice cut across all channels, calm and precise. This is Admiral Vasquez of Earth Defense Command. You have one chance to withdraw. 𝗕𝗲𝘀𝘁 snarled, you bluff. Even that monstrosity cannot stand against the entire... Europa's weapon fired. A beam of concentrated stellar plasma lanced across the void, not at the fleet, but at a barren asteroid drifting near Mars. The rock vaporized instantly, reduced to molten fragments. The message was unmistakable. Silence gripped the Allied fleet. On the eternal dawn, 𝗕𝗲𝘀𝘁's claws dug into his command throne. He had expected desperation, pleas for negotiation. Not this. Not a weapon that could crack worlds. 𝗕𝗲𝘀𝘁's voice whispered through the comms, for 𝗕𝗲𝘀 alone. Asterisk, they could have aimed at you. They didn't. Asterisk. 𝗕𝗲𝘀 spoke again. Asterisk, we are not your enemies. But we will not be your slaves. Stand down, or the next shot burns a hole through your flagship. Asterisk. The Draxian fleet hesitated. The 𝗕𝗏𝘁 remnants wailed for blood, but even they fell silent as targeting locks from hidden human railguns painted their hulls. 𝗕𝗲𝘀 exhaled. The humans had fought with restraint, with precision, traits the galaxy had never afforded them. Traits he had dismissed as weakness. All vessels, he growled, asterisk, disengage. Fall back to rally point Sigma. Asterisk. The blockade dissolved. As the last alien warship vanished into FTL, Earth's defense networks hummed back to standby. The weapon beneath Europa sealed itself once more, returning to its icy slumber. 𝗕𝗲𝘀 turned from the view screen. Asterisk, let them report what they saw. Let them wonder what else we've buried. Asterisk. In the Hall of Voices, the Galactic Council convened in stunned silence. 𝗕𝗲𝘀𝘁's final entry scrolled across the archives. Asterisk, they laughed at Earth. Now the galaxy holds its breath. Asterisk. Somewhere in the dark, humanity watched the stars, and smiled. The silence in the wake of the Allied fleet's retreat was deafening. Across the galaxy, star systems held their breath, waiting for the next move. Earth's victory wasn't just a military triumph, it was a seismic shift in the balance of power. The species that had been dismissed as weak, as inferior, had just rewritten the rules of engagement. On the bridge of the Iron Resolve, Admiral 𝗕𝗲𝘀 Vasquez studied the tactical displays. The immediate threat had passed, but she knew better than to relax. The Draxians would lick their wounds. The 𝗕𝗏𝘁 would plot revenge. And the rest. They would either fear humanity or seek its favor. Both options carried risks. Her comm crackled. Asterisk, Admiral, we're receiving a priority transmission, encrypted, council frequencies. Asterisk. 𝗕𝗲𝘀 raised an eyebrow. Asterisk, patch it through. Asterisk. The holographic projection flickered to life, revealing Archivist 𝗕𝗲𝘀. His usually composed demeanor was frayed at the edges. Asterisk, Admiral Vasquez. The Council is divided. There are those who now argue for your species' immediate inclusion as a sovereign power. Others still call for your eradication. Asterisk. 𝗕𝗲𝘀 smirked. Asterisk. Let me guess, 𝗕𝗲𝘀 leading the latter camp. Asterisk. 𝗕𝗲𝘀's mandibles twitched in what might have been amusement. Asterisk. He is vocal, but not unchallenged. The Tyrellians have formally petitioned for Earth's recognition. The Quarren Syndicate has already sent envoys to establish trade relations. Asterisk. That was faster than expected. 𝗕𝗲𝘀 leaned back. Asterisk. And the 𝗕𝗏𝘁. Asterisk. Asterisk. Scattered. Their remaining warlords are too busy fighting each other to pose a unified threat. Asterisk. Good. One less problem to deal with. But 𝗕𝗀𝘀 wasn't finished. Asterisk. There's something else. The weapon beneath Europa. The Council is demanding answers. Where did it come from? What else are you hiding? Asterisk. 𝗕𝗲𝘀's smile didn't reach her eyes. Asterisk. Tell them it's a relic from our past. A reminder of what happens when we're pushed too far. Asterisk. She cut the transmission before he could respond. Across Earth, celebrations erupted. Streets flooded with people chanting, waving flags, embracing under the open sky. For the first time in history, humanity stood united, not by fear of extinction, but by the unshakable knowledge that they were no longer alone in the universe. And they were not prey. In the shadows, though, work continued. Scientists pored over recovered 𝗕𝗏𝘁 technology. Engineers refined the railgun designs. Deep beneath Mars, in a facility not even the Council could detect, a new project hummed to life. 𝗕𝗲𝘀 stared at the stars through the observation deck's viewport. They'll come again, she murmured. Asterisk. Maybe not tomorrow. Maybe not in our lifetimes. But they'll come. Asterisk. Her second-in-command, Commander Hale, joined her. Asterisk. Then we'll be ready. Asterisk. Kira nodded. The galaxy had underestimated humanity once. It wouldn't make that mistake again. 5 standard cycles had passed since the Battle of Seoul. The Galactic Council's halls still buzzed with uneasy whispers, but the tone had shifted. Where once there had been mocking laughter, now there was wary calculation. Archivist 𝗕𝗲𝘀𝘁 moved through the corridors unnoticed, his data pad filled with reports few would ever see. The official records spoke of diplomacy, of treaties signed and borders recognized. The truth was far more volatile. Earth's embassies had sprung up overnight on a dozen core worlds, their structures unassuming but their security impenetrable. Human diplomats spoke softly, smiled often, and never blinked first. The Draxian hegemony had withdrawn to its territories, but their surveillance drones lingered at the edges of human space, watching. Waiting. Beneath the surface of Mars, in a facility designated only by coordinates, Admiral 𝗕𝗲𝘀𝘁𝗿 stood before a holographic star map. The display flickered with new data, anomalies at the fringes of known space. Unexplained energy signatures. Ships that appeared and vanished without transponder codes. "They're testing us," Commander 𝗕𝗲𝘀𝘁 observed. "Probing the edges." Kira zoomed in on a sector near the 𝗕𝗲𝘁𝘁 remnants. "Not just testing. Preparing." A chime interrupted them. The alert was coded highest priority. Kira's jaw tightened as she decrypted the message. The 𝗕𝗲𝘁 weren't fighting among themselves anymore. A new warlord had risen. On the ruined world of 𝗕𝗲𝘁-7, where the atmosphere still carried the acrid stench of ionized metal from the last civil war, a single figure stood atop the carcass of a fallen dreadnought. The warlord known only as 𝗕𝗲𝘁𝘁 the Unbroken raised a clawed fist, and 10,000 warriors fell silent. "We bled for their arrogance," 𝗕𝗲𝘁𝘁 growled. "Now we make them bleed for ours." His warriors roared, but the warlord's gaze was already fixed on the stars. Not toward Seoul. Not toward Earth. Toward something far worse. Kira's briefing room was crowded for the first time in years. Fleet captains, intelligence officers, even the newly appointed human ambassador to the Council, all wore the same grim expression. The hologram between them showed a grainy long-range scan, a 𝗕𝗂𝘁 armada, larger than the one that had attacked Seoul, moving in perfect formation. Toward the galactic core. Toward the Forbidden Zone. Ambassador Cho was the first to voice what everyone knew. "They're not coming for us." Kira's fingers traced the projected trajectory. "No. They're going after the Devourers." The room went cold. Every species in the galaxy knew the legends. The Devourers, ancient, ravenous things that slept in the dark between stars. The Council had declared their territory off-limits after entire fleets vanished without a trace. Commander 𝗕𝗲𝘀𝘁𝗁 exhaled sharply. "The 𝗕𝗂𝘁𝘁 mean to wake them." Kira met her officers' eyes one by one. "Then we have 2 choices. Let the 𝗕𝗁𝘁𝘁 unleash hell on the galaxy." She activated a new set of coordinates. "Or we stop them first." The map lit up with a single viable path, a narrow corridor through the Forbidden Zone, straight to the 𝗕𝗁𝘁 armada's projected rally point. A suicide run by any measure. No one hesitated. 𝗕𝗲𝘀𝘁𝘁 input the commands. Across Seoul, engines flared to life. Humanity's fleet moved again. This time, they wouldn't be defending. This time, they'd be the storm. The jump point into the Forbidden Zone shimmered like fractured glass, its edges warping reality itself. No navigation charts existed for what lay beyond, only warnings, etched in every species' history in blood. Admiral 𝗕𝗲𝘀𝘁𝘁𝘁 watched the anomaly fill the Iron Resolve's viewport, her reflection ghostly against the void. "All ships, combat readiness," she said. The order traveled through encrypted channels to the 73 vessels following her into the dark. Not a full fleet. Not even close. But every one volunteer. The 𝗕𝗁𝘁𝘁 armada had vanished into the zone 6 hours prior. Long-range scans showed debris fields already, twisted hulls that didn't match 𝗕𝗁𝘁's design. Something had hit them hard and fast. Commander 𝗕𝗲𝘁𝘁𝘁's fingers danced across tactical displays. "We're picking up residual energy spikes. Same signature as..." She trailed off. "As Europa," Kira finished. The realization settled like ice. Whatever the 𝗕𝗁𝘁𝘁 had awakened, it shared DNA with humanity's deadliest weapons. The first casualty came 3 minutes after crossing the threshold. A frigate, the Swift Horizon, blinked off sensors without a distress call. One moment there, the next, gone. Then the Voidhammer reported structural breaches along its port side despite no visible attack. They're using gravitational shears, Hale realized, tearing ships apart by bending space itself. Kira's comm crackled. A distorted voice, neither human nor Crix, oozed through the static. Asterisk, you should not be here. Asterisk. The iron resolve shuddered as something massive eclipsed the stars. Not a ship. Not a creature. Something in between, its surface shifting between metallic and organic, its edges blurring like a bad hologram. Kira's fingers flew across her console. Europa Protocol, Authorization Vasquez Zulu 9. Deep in Sol System, the moon's weapon stirred. But this time, it wasn't alone. Across the Forbidden Zone, identical structures flared to life, dormant siblings of Earth's doomsday device, their energy signatures syncing. The thing hovering before the human fleet pulsed in recognition. You carry the Old One's mark, the voice hissed. Asterisk, why do you hunt your kin? Asterisk. Kira's blood ran cold. The weapon beneath Europa wasn't human. It never had been. And whatever slept in the dark had just recognized its children.